Yeah, the Auburn Tigers, this is our 6th trip to Omaha, and our university is ecstatic. We were here in 2019, and we do have a few of those players that return, and those are probably some of our best leaders. And we've added some pieces along the way to get back here 2 of the last 3 tournaments, and couldn't be happier. Had an amazing journey through the rigorous SEC, and it still looks like we're going to have to compete against some of those foes here this week. But it's been a great journey, an amazing group of coaches. Our coaches have so much experience. They've done an amazing job. All the members of our staff that's helped us, and an amazing group of ball players. This is personally year 30, and may have been the finest journey for me, and that's because of our players, our student athletes, and how they've worked for us. Watching amazing moments, having a front seat to some amazing things they've done along this journey. They've been challenged with low expectations, and it just drove them even more to this point. And we're kind of walking in here thinking we're not done yet, and that's a great feeling for a baseball team. And we hope the best is yet to come this week, but we're sure thankful to be here. And this is kind of the pinnacle for us and for college baseball, and glad the Auburn Tigers are part of this session.
This time around, kind of our motto of not done yet is really sticking with us. It's really taking a hold of this team, and I think that we have a great vision of winning a national championship and bringing home that trophy for the first time in this program. And in 2019, we had a great vision too, but I think this team is just so unified that it feels like, it's very, we're in a good position.
The motto back in 2019 was kind of, let's make it to Omaha. And then this year it's been, go out and let's win a national championship. Just making it here is not good enough for us. So we're going to go out and do everything we can to prove it and prove ourselves.
Our starter will be Joseph Gonzalez. He's pitched for us a lot this year. He was out that first portion of the year, so I know he did not pitch against Ole Miss the first time around. But he's kind of been thrown in the 3-hole for us, or the 3rd slot there, and as we've just worked through, we've got into the 2 slot, and we eventually got into the 1 slot because he missed some time early in the year. So arguably, at the end of the day, he's probably our best starter. It's gone the longest per start, and we're excited to let Joseph get an opportunity to start us off here. All 8 teams are at the halfway point. To win the big one, you got to win a regional, super. And basically all you're doing is entering another regional now, and then there'll be 1 more super regional. So we're lining it up. We know those first 2 games of a regional is so important for every club. But Joseph gets us off to a good start. Parrish may be able to help me. Did DeLucia pitch against us? Game 3 innings out of the pen. And he done an amazing job how he hooked it up for Ole Miss in this stretch run. So we saw him 3 innings out of the pen, and I think he'll be Ole Miss's starter. And it should be interesting for the 2 clubs. I know the fans are going to enjoy every bit of it, but that pitching matchup with these 2 guys that really didn't play this role the first time around, that's another piece to the intrigue, I guess.
You played Ole Miss earlier this year. They were #1 team in the country at the time. Of course, it's been a while. Just how would you say that you guys have grown as a unit since then?
I think we've just kind of grown and growing into our team identity. And those first couple weeks you're playing other people, when you hit the SEC and conference play, you kind of hit the ground running just to you got to figure out who you are real quick. And I think from that weekend on, we just kind of figured out who we were going to be and what we were going to do.
I think that we're on a little bit more of autopilot than we were that first SEC weekend, where things are just happening and we're not having to think about it. And obviously, this deep into the season, that's what you want from a team, is things just to happen. And you don't think, you just do. That's one of Coach Thompson's quotes, and I think that's what we're looking forward to. Is we're not going to think about the first time we played them. We're just going to play our game and try to play at a high level.
Yeah, since we played them the first time, we kind of hit our stride. That first weekend, SEC weekend, everybody's jittery and ready to go, but at the same time, not everything's solidified, not everything's where you want it to be. So it's kind of 2 different teams playing Saturday. So it'll be fun to see.
Butch, obviously Sonny's brought a lot to your guys' lineup this year. Talk about the impact he's had, but also going back initially, what appealed to you about him?
When you meet him initially, I think if we get to hang around, if we play good enough baseball, I think how many they put out here is going to love him, going to respect him. I thought it was instant with our people. It was instant with our clubhouse, as you can hear these guys talk about, and he'll do the same thing. It's genuine. It's not manufactured. It's real, and he's good. I think if you look at it from an analytical or metric standpoint, he may have more impact on our team than any other player in college baseball if you really look at the numbers. But then him rivaling that as a person and the genuineness of it, you'll see it. You know, he had us from hello. And I'm so thankful that a player like him with that much charisma and really that much game gets an opportunity to play in a setting like this.
Obviously, your familiarity with both State and Ole Miss throughout your life, I'm sure you're incredibly familiar, but now this will be the fourth consecutive year that a team from Mississippi is in the College World Series. Based on being from there and having such a passion for it, I mean, how big do you think that is for the state?
Yeah, I think it's huge, especially State, you know, so small and so much pride. And, you know, I think about a lot of things. I think about Walter Payton. I think about Favre. I think some of the best in everything. I think Jerry Rice. I just think of the ball players that's come out of our state and the people that's come out of our state have been, you know, some of the guys second to none. It's been pretty incredible. So we all got each other's back. You know, Bryson Ware's an outfielder that plays for us, and, you know, he's from that Jackson metro area there. Every time you see somebody from the state of Mississippi, we all are rooting for somebody from the state of Mississippi. And I did. I grew up about, 50 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour from Starkville, about an hour and 10 from Oxford, and about an hour and a half from Alabama there. I call it the Bermuda Triangle growing up. So, I mean, if you cared about sports, and I love baseball, and, you know, once I latched into baseball, it's just been a mecca. And you think about at our school, a Hal Baird and a Ron Polk, and what those guys have just built this SEC brand that we get to experience today. I was with Keith Madison in the hotel today at Kentucky for 25 years. Those men, they have paved the way for us to get our league to where it is now, and there's been a lot of Mississippi imprint on it. Scott Berry's a good man at Southern Miss. I got to talk to him today. And had a club that Ole Miss had to go through was a tall order, just like the tough. Whoever gets here had to go through a pretty tough road to be able to get here. And in baseball in the state of Mississippi, there is a lot of pride. And even though I'm in Auburn in the neighboring state, I got a lot of pride in the folks that's done so well and come out of the great state of Mississippi.
Quick follow-up. Who did you grow up rooting for?
Yeah, I guess I was an Ole Miss fan. My father was there was a time there. I was born in 70. 51, even though I look 38.
Me too.
It was Archie Manning, and that created a whole generation. I think that just drew people. When you're right in the middle and you choose sides, that Archie Manning era it got my dad. It captured my dad, and, you know, he was one of those shift workers, and but we could go once a year. We'd go to one football game a year, and that'd be a special thing. And I'd go try to steal all the souvenir cups. That was all the cups in our house, is trying to get 70 or 80 of those when I was young. So that changed. I remember my dad, who passed in 18. So he never got to see me be a head coach and bring a team here in 19 when we played Mississippi State. But I didn't let him know that I got the pitching job at Mississippi State when I took it the first time, because he was such an Ole Miss guy. He wouldn't ever let it go. And I got home before he ever heard of it, because you don't hear about anything from Coontail, Mississippi. I had a week to play with. It wasn't all the social media stuff. And I walked in, and he's sitting there at the table, and I threw a Mississippi State hat. And he's like, "Boy, get that out of this house." And I'm like, "I'm the pitching coach at Mississippi State." And he put his head down. He's like, "I guess blood's thicker than water. Let's go." But Ole Miss is the answer. I'm sorry to take you on my personal journey, but it was I was probably a rebel when I grew up. I was there because, you know, I was a pitching coach at Georgia too, and Vince Dooley, first time I sat down with him as a new employee, he had asked me what I knew about the SEC, and I said, "I remember I was in Oxford today. Herschel jumped over that line. He jumped over that pile and landed on his feet and run in the end zone. I was absolutely there, and I hated y'all." But
when did Sonny first get on your radar, and how? And were you? I mean, were you as surprised as some of the rest of us as how well he handled SEC pitching right from the start?
Yeah, I'll start at the end. Yes, he hit 270 last year, and Casey Dunn was his head coach, and Casey's about as good as a hitting coach is out there, and he hit 21 home runs in 18. So we knew we needed power. We basically, this stuff isn't rocket science. So we had Tyler Miller, 16 home runs right there playing first base for us, and we knew he was going to sign and move on. And this was the first year really that portal stuff being something that we're going to attack was last year. And, it came to our attention that Casey was leaving Sanford and going to be the head coach at UAB, and a couple of good players, because it's not just Sonny. It's Chase Isbell that's coming on for us late. His last 11 innings, look back at that. He was a surgery guy about 13 months now. He's starting to make an impact for us. That's another one. And there's also Brooks Carlson, who would probably be in our lineup as a DH. So it was all three of them. But Sonny, I guess, has made the biggest jump in impact off of his numbers from last year. Sonny's honest answer, because I've asked him, I beat you to the punch on that, and I'm like, why 560 on base percentage? And he's probably getting close to 70 walks now. So when you look at his RBIs and you look at his home runs, and you're like, man, there's some guys in college baseball that had more. Well, you take those 70 at-bats out of there, because most of those 70 are them not wanting to fool with him. His numbers could have been astronomical, but they've elected not to pitch to him a bunch. And he really credited the four-umpire system, the advent of the TrackMan, maybe with, I'm trying to find the right proper words of respect, that strike zone is where he's not having to chase and try to do other things to have at bats. He had to carry something. He didn't have to carry as much for us. And I think it's a little better strike zone to where then when that slider rolls off 3 or 4 balls off the plate, he can get a ball out of it now, because so much is on TV, so much is evaluated with our SEC umpires, et cetera. That in the past, that when that ball's called 2 or 3 balls off the plate consistently, has to go for it. And nobody's good at hitting a pitch a foot outside or a foot above or a foot in, 2 balls in. So I think it's allowed him to get to his truest, smallest strike zone of his career. And he does have great evaluation skills. He's got 2 things that are an extreme high level. And once you can get past his body type, because that's the elephant in the room with him, his evaluation of being able to take balls and swing at strikes is elite. And his bat quickness is that of like a Dylan Cruz. And Dylan Cruz looks like he's ready to be in a big league game tomorrow. Sonny possesses a couple of those skills. They're exactly the same, with bat quickness, shortness to the ball, exit velocities, and his evaluation of the strike zone. And I think this year he's playing with a smaller strike zone than what he did the last 2 years by being in our conference.
So when I showed up day one and saw these guys and met everybody and just how hard they worked and saw how hard they worked, it kind of infected me. And I just really put my nose down and just wanted to win so bad with these guys. And, spring comes around and we're hungry, man. We still are.
So I played against Sonny for a long time when he was at Sanford, and, every time he came up to the box, it was, don't pitch to this guy, don't let him beat you. And so really when he came to Auburn, I had I was not surprised how well he did and fit in, and I'd heard nothing but good things about him from everybody who knew him. And so, him just coming in and just being just a great locker room presence. I mean, everybody loves him. Obviously, the fan base loves him. And, his professionalism, he goes about every day in practice, and the way he goes about his business is just it's infectious, and it's really just helped our team become a lot stronger.
Me and Sonny have grown up playing together since we were, 6 years old? Yeah, 6 years old all the way through high school, and then played against each other while he was at Sanford. And, I've been able to see him growing throughout his whole life, how good of a hitter he really is. And for him to come here and just be able to do his thing, it's been amazing to see.
Butch, I wanted to ask you about Tim Hudson and just what the impact has been that he's had on your pitching staff since he joined your squad.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a tough time. 2020 we play 18 games. Welcome to college baseball. He was on the Hall of Fame ballot last year, so he's been able to pitch at an extremely high level and a gifted athlete. And he only missed games or starts when he was having an arm surgery. So he's a gifted, phenomenal athlete. Coaching's a different ball game. I think everybody knows that. So 20, he had that, and a bunch of his boys got hurt last year, and it was tough, and he grinded it out. I think somebody could do a quick Google search and see that Tim Hudson does not have to be getting up every day and grinding to coach college baseball to make ends meet. He's very gifted. This is his heart as a player, where he played here in Omaha, and how cool is it that he gets to coach here. And I don't think he'll do this for 20 years. I think this was his deal in 20, and we're here in 22, and he's grown himself. And he's absolutely made a difference in these players. They would run through any wall for Tim, but I've seen him grow so much. But all he wanted to do was give back to Auburn. And, you have to get in there pretty early. You got to be on top of your game to beat him. Some of these guys that are uber elite athletes, they don't just have this skill. They have the ability to focus for a long period of time. Tim Hudson can walk in a room and stay there for 8 hours. When we have a camp, he'll make sure that he touches and watches every pitch of every kid that paid to come and invest in that camp. There's some special elite stuff with him from what he's done by being able to come back in our program that I'll never forget. And I'm going to enjoy every day that he continues to want to do this for the program, whether it's over at the end of this year or we got 3-4 more years together, who knows. But he wanted to give back to Auburn because Auburn springboarded a career for him. And I'll forever be grateful. And I told him today as we're taking that picture out there at that statue, how much I respected him, how much I appreciated him, and how excited I am that not only was he a great player and won the National Player of the Year as a hitter and a pitcher, but he gets to coach an Auburn pitching staff in Omaha as well. It's a really nice piece for icing on top of the cake for him to put on his Auburn deal. And he graduated last year, so it only took 25 years or whatever, but he's got an Auburn degree, and then he's leading his pitching staff. He's in a great place, and I am so thankful. It's been invaluable to have him part of our coaching staff and being part of our program. It's been, I probably can't put it into good words for you to get out there, but I think you know what I mean.